They've got a new podcast coming out, which is called Jonty and the Doc.
Yes.
Jonty, Doc, idiot. It's an IVM show, right?
So look, the show, primarily Jonty and the Doc is two guys in our middle age, conversation and a discussion about what does it mean to age well.
I mean, I was a hockey player, so fitness for me was pretty easy.
I saw you on a black and white television. He openly wears it on his t-shirt, right? Don't die.
We have the highest bridge bungee jump in the world, so I've done that 4 times. I'm still very scared of heights.
What if he gets hit by a truck?
That's the irony of life. I believe in the process of aging, but aging well. And we have this small group, we call it Men Who Run.
Why is there so much chlorine in the pool?
Yeah, come do aerobics in the pool with me.
If any of our viewers would like to see these two synchronized swimming in their speedos, please put a comment in the box below.
All right. I'm perhaps too excited. I mean, calm down a bit. It was too much of an all right, no? Because if the guest doesn't give it back, it sounds horrible. All right, I'm with Jonty Rhodes. Jonty's like,
Nothing came back.
nothing comes back.
Just an echo. Lucky.
It's always like that.
Hello, Cyrus.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll do a monologue for half an hour, then you guys come in.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Yeah.
World's greatest fielder, needs no introduction. Jonty Rhodes is back with us. Marcus Ranney, one of the in the forefront of life coaching, nutrition, health, holistic health management, and health as well, literally, thanks to him.
Right.
And we're going to sell the show here. They've got a new podcast coming out, which is called Jonty and the Doc.
Yes.
Which takes me a little while to recall.
We kept it easy.
Yeah,
we kept it easy.
Yeah, but you're giving me stuff to make my brain better. Cognitive functioning will take place at some point. But let's start at the beginning. Firstly, how did you guys meet?
I saw you on a black and white television.
Yeah, don't date me.
Black and
Age
white.
me.
No,
yeah,
no,
that's
it's
how
so
old I
weird.
am. Right?
Apparently it was
Yeah.
a colored screen, but
Yeah.
at least that's what he tells me.
He's a 90s kid. I
He's
mean,
a nice-
his
yeah.
famous-
I was a
sounds-
90s kid. No,
we are 90s kids, but
yeah.
we watched him in the 90s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, he was very kind. When I wrote my first book, At the Human Edge, Jonty was very kind to review it and then actually wrote the foreword for it as well. And then we just sort of kept in touch. And serendipity.
And he's also the, how do we say this correctly without overdoing it? He's sort of the center of excellence in terms of athleticism and
He's
all
a
that.
goat.
Yeah, he is. So
Yeah, I mean,
he's a role model for people who are aspiring to be fit.
Yeah.
He's always ahead of the class
Yes.
as a young man.
Yes.
Still is it.
Yes.
Still fit. Still as a fielding coach of various teams, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Still setting standards himself. I watch him on,
Yeah.
on TV. They show the drills happening and stuff, and you can see he's right in it.
Yeah.
He's not hardly lost a pace or two. You know,
Or
over the
3.
years. Or 3.
No.
You're going to be modest, so there's no point.
No, I have definitely lost.
Jonty,
Yes, tell me.
if you weren't good at fielding, we wouldn't praise you so much.
know.
All right. The next time you live again, just,
Yes.
just be a bowler.
No,
One of those guys,
not
the
at
third
all.
man.
Not at all.
Yeah.
More than happy to have
All
some
the praise?
some recognition.
Yeah.
You know, people keep saying, "Oh, doesn't it sort of frustrate you or irritate you that people just talk to you about you as a fielder?" So if I was just a batter, they would have forgotten me a long time ago.
Well,
So-
you know, for me, the funny part is your name became synonymous with excellence in fielding. So,
Yeah.
in every culture, it'd be like, well done, Jonty. You know,
Yeah.
they tell the guy who's at cover who's stopping.
Correct, yeah.
And then I remember Navjot Singh Sidhu transformed himself from this horrible athlete to a decent fielder.
Right.
And Sunny Gavaskar on TV saying things like calling him Jonty Singh.
Yeah.
And that stuck.
Yeah.
And that's because, he's the guy. And
Yeah.
So in all the cultures of the world, there's somebody, somewhere in Antigua
Yeah.
or Melbourne
Yeah.
or, in Colombo. It's people actually calling each other Jonty.
That's true.
So I think that would be the best praise.
Yeah.
Sunny G still talks about Jonty's corner. So any ball that goes towards backward
Point.
point,
Oh, yeah.
when he's commentating,
Yeah.
he'll refer it to Jonty's
Yeah.
corner. So
Yeah.
it's pretty. I mean, it is amazing if I had to look back on it, and from a cricketing point of view, because I retired, walked away. I went and worked for a bank in South Africa, so I had 5 or 6 years of no cricket involvement. We then launched the Pro 20, so got back into that in South Africa as a sponsor, and then started coaching at the IPL. But it literally, my career ended, and I was no longer involved in cricket.
But you kept yourself fit.
But that's interesting, though, Cyrus. I mean, there's different ways of being fit, and I think what resonated with my meeting with Marcus from the outset and going through his book was that it was more from I'd always been a lifestyle guy, always active. So I didn't have a training regime. We as a cricket team wanted to be the fittest team in the world because we wanted to be the best fielding team in the world. And for that, I mean, I was a hockey player, so fitness for me was pretty easy.
Faster game.
But it's also, everything is done running. You know, it's just like football. You don't stand and kick a ball. You're always moving and changing direction. So I would come to cricket season fit as anything. And it was really interesting, though, that the fascinating thing for me, Hansi was a great athlete, good rugby player, trained with an Olympic. Zola Budd was someone from his home. So she left South Africa in the years of apartheid and went and ran for the UK, for Britain.
Right.
And she ran into, she and Mary Decker-Slaney had a in the
fight
84. They had she tripped her up. But she was a barefoot runner.
I know.
So Hansi used to train with her, you know. So he would always come, and I think the fascinating thing for me was from a lifestyle perspective, and we as two young guys, we were the youngest in the team by quite a bit, and the fittest in the team by a long way. I mean, the guys trained fairly hard in that 90s era, but we just agreed with each other that we would never take shortcuts because we were always ahead of everybody. But we just kept pushing each other, you know. So the contest was always within ourselves and not me competing with, say, a Pat Simcox at 34 who smokes 2 packs a day. You know, his kept telling us about his third lung. That was what his cigarettes were. But we weren't competing with that. We were always just pushing ourselves and each other. And that was fascinating because it just became a part of the discipline without it being a training regime. It was just small habits that we agreed on and stuck to, you know. And I think that's with Marcus, our connect has always been about, you know, there's not a massive transformation. It's small things on a daily basis over a long period of time that anybody can do. You don't have to be an international athlete or somebody who sport is their business.
I think that's a nugget, actually, right? Because people tell you, oh, you go to the gym, how many hours you put in, whatever. And that's not important. What's important is the connect you have with some sort of fitness which you enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? And hence, you know, you guys run. I hate the idea of running.
Yeah, me too.
Long distance.
No, I don't run any distance.
I don't. My wife and I, it's just amazing because she's got this whole, they're all from the same world of, you know, the Iron Man and running and cycling and swimming. But it's just so, I think you need slow twitch fibers for that. It's just very difficult to. If you're impatient, it's a hard one, really.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, getting fitter in their 40s and 50s, and they actually were.
Yeah.
Because they weren't like, you know, as gifted as he was growing up or whatever. In fact, many of them find sport later. Have you noticed this in urban India? At least I can't say for the whole world.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even I got into running when I was in my 30s. It was only after that I actually started to take it up with any degree of seriousness. But I will say, you know, for everyone.
Are you referring?
No, not referring to that. You know, sitting here with you two, and we had this WhatsApp group this morning. I actually hit the gym this morning because I knew I had to compete with your biceps and his fitness. So,
I never ask people to come and lift weights. You know, honestly, I feel that if they don't have the passion for it, it's the worst thing to do.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, you just need to enjoy it. Otherwise, it's pointless coming just doing numbers. 1, 2. It's pointless.
Yeah.
The same thing with running.
No, it's true. But discipline is the key, right? It's just something. If you can find something that you enjoy doing that becomes part of your lifestyle. I mean, for him, obviously, there's a lot of surfing involved and snowboarding in winter.
He's the outdoors. I think South African, Australian kind of culture is all
They
about.
have it in their DNA.
I mean, they can't go indoors. I would think it would be like the horrible thing to do.
It's tough, you know. But I do live in India for 5 months of the year, and specifically we chose Agonda. It's a fishing village. So the ocean's clean, the beach is clean, South Goa. It's also on the Karnataka border. I mean, it's that far south of Goa. And it's because we have a lifestyle. The kids do have an international school close by. But the reason we bought it was that we could get in the ocean every day. So me and my wife, she enjoys the yoga. So for her, 6 days a week from 8 to 10. So it's an intense class. And it's more in the traditional. So she's got this Guruji. She is a yoga teacher. She just says, what I teach is movement. It's kind of, whereas what the yoga, a lot of it is around the breath work and, you know, and that is 1,000 years of wisdom in India. And we as West think that we've kind of taken yoga to the next level. But
but if
we've actually
my wife
degraded
had a
yoga.
Guruji, I'd be a little worried. You know, just sounds like the wrong Guruji, the wrong combination right there. Yeah. So now take us through what the show is going to tell us. I mean, obviously holistic fitness and all that, but what's missing for this generation?
Yeah.
Because my kids, one is 23, one is 18. They weigh all their food, for example. Okay? I never, growing up, I don't even think we thought of sugar. We never thought of nutrition in that sense. Had some idea about protein being important and all that, but nothing. We just ate. And now the world has changed so quickly and they have access to all this information, perhaps too much. So what would you tell this generation actually? How do we start?
So look, the show primarily Jonty and the Doc is two guys in our two middle-aged men officially.
Can't tell.
Not that you can tell on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm way beyond middle age. But
But it's just sort of a conversation and a discussion about what does it mean to age well. I think for every phase of life, we look at health through a different lens. And for both of us, our kids are sort of the same age, wives who are both in the healthcare space as well. He comes from high performance sport. I spend a lot of time working with folks in high performance. So it's just a journey. The first season is just a journey about different themes every episode. And we sort of dive into it, not just from a health and a science perspective, but also from the emotions of it. And what does it mean for relationships, relationships with our parents, relationships with our spouse, relationships with our family, relationships with our colleagues. So, it's just a chat, right, between the two of us. So
And I think also you spoke about there's almost too much information. So there's a scientific approach which you need, because it's not just what I believe or my philosophy. I mean, Doc backs it up with science, but then we kind of break it down to more of a conversational level where this is how I can apply it in my existence. Because if you go online, there is so much data available, so much information available. But practically, how do you introduce that into your lifestyle? And I think that's what we're trying to show people.
Yeah, because we discussed that Brian Johnson fellow.
That's right. Brian Johnson.
Which is a bit of, you would think, a bit to the extreme. I'll change the plasma in my body, etc., etc. I don't know where to draw the line.
Yeah.
And then coming up with figures like, I don't want to sound like a cynic, but my knees are 60 and my elbow is 15 and all that, which maybe it makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
So his whole point is that he's going to retard the aging process and actually reverse it.
That's right. Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
I don't subscribe to that school of thought. So I've had the chance to spend a little bit of time with him. We've spoken at similar events, and he openly wears it on his T-shirt. Right? Don't die. Fundamentally believes that this is the first generation.
What if he gets hit by a truck?
Well, that's
carrying the body and
That's
say,
exactly
don't die. Look and walk.
That's the irony of life. That is the irony. But he thinks that he might be the first prototype. And for everything that he does, his biggest contribution, and we have to be fair to him, is that he has now made this a dinner table conversation. People are talking about longevity more because of what he's done through social media. As a physician, I come from a slightly different school of thought. I believe in the process of aging, but aging well, so that as we go through the different transitions of life, we can maximize the experiences that life bless us with. So how do you ensure that, topics that we speak about in the show, how do you ensure that you maximize muscle gain in your young years and maintain it for as long as possible? Because the amount of muscle mass you keep is one of the determinants for how well you age into your 6th, 7th, 8th decades and beyond.
But what if you only start weight training in your 40s or 50s?
Yeah.
You can still achieve results.
Absolutely.
You don't have
So rather start in your 40s and 50s than end in your 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Because that's, you kind of think, well, I'm past the hard work. I'm even now talking to my wife about I need to get back in the gym because I haven't been in the gym it's been more around the lifestyle. But my lifestyle in India especially is spend a lot of time in hotels and away from the ocean, away from the surfboard. And I'm kind of making the excuses. So I'm very human in that way where I do make excuses.
What's your consistent go-to then? Because you travel and...
That's the problem, is that I haven't yet established a habit for that, which should be check in at a hotel, go straight to the gym, even if it's for flexibility. So even if it's mobility, because during the IPL, you're spending 10 weeks with a team, you're in a hotel, there's people in the gym all the time, because I don't like to do stuff on my own. I mean, I'm really bad. Even if I go surfing in the ocean, I like to go with my wife. I like to go, there's other guys that are surfing there. There's a surf school. So being on my own is not what I like to do. Whereas my wife is a mom of 4 kids, probably, and a husband that drives her crazy. Alone time would probably be her ideal scenario, so she's quite happy to meditate on her own with nobody around. Whereas for me, I need the contact. So I don't have the discipline yet to go, I'm in a hotel, my flight's today, I've got another flight tomorrow, let me just go and do mobility in the hotel. So I know the benefits, but I still, when I'm away from my team, that accountability is still not there. And Marcus and I have spoken about it, and I still haven't got there yet.
No,
So I'm working on it.
but his point is well made about the social aspect also, because at the end of the day, it can't be a drudge, right? There's some people who are crazily motivated.
Yeah.
So some are
Yeah, not
like
everyone has
solitude
that,
fair.
for sure.
But a lot of people like you guys, I mean,
Yeah.
you're a community. The
That's
way
right.
you all do everything. And if
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
that it's very social, and that's very much part of the ethos, right? That's why you want to go there.
Yeah,
It's like being
absolutely.
back in school with good friends once again.
Oh, I keep telling Raina it's cheaper than me seeing a therapist. Just having, and we have this small group. We call it Men Who Run, and it's this people
That
men
sounds like cowards, huh?
running
The war
towards
started today, and men who run.
running away or running towards.
Yeah.
What are we running from?
Yeah.
No, but the idea is community plays a big aspect. And every time someone comes in to see me in the clinic and I say, Doc, let's say I want to take up X, I want to take up Y as a sport or a hobby. My first thing to them is always find someone who does that and make that person your friend, because you're more likely to then stick with it over a period of time. You build community in, you're just more likely to then have that motivation and discipline daily. And you find, right, you end up running longer and further when you have a person to chat to as well. So it's a great,
It's also
great
a little
aspect.
competitive sort of edge in the sense that you don't want to disappoint each other.
Sure.
And you, in a way, you do compete with each other because
Yeah,
your
yeah.
timings are,
Yeah.
sort of.
But it's more around the consistency, though, Cyrus. I mean, if you're accountable to a training partner,
Yeah.
then you will pitch up. Whereas if I'm like traveling on my own, I'm thinking, I get to the swimming pool. I mean, my eyes are a bit red. The chlorine in the pools in India, they burn you compared to the ocean. But that's where I do my mobility. So generally, and half the time I arrive, the pool's closed, can't get in.
Let's talk about that. Why is there so much chlorine in the pool? I mean, really.
Keeping it safe.
It's ridiculous.
Keeping it
You
safe.
kill the human as well.
Yeah, no,
You
you do.
destroy all the other things, and we lose a few every day. That's actually spot on. All the time, if you swim,
Yeah.
your eyes are. I mean, if you don't use goggles, you're done.
Yeah, I should travel. I mean, are people who you can see they spend time training in the pool. They will go goggles on.
They have to.
For me, I'm more on the flexibility. So I'm almost doing yoga in the
You're
swimming
stretching
pool.
in the pool.
Yeah, so I do a lot of work in the pool, running in the pool.
I think that's not really much.
Exactly. That's why I
Once you
look.
go in the water,
That's why I look.
everything's easy.
That's why I look like.
Come on.
I'm smarter than I look, Cyrus.
Jonty Rhodes, world #1 athlete. I've had enough of that shit.
Stretching.
I'm running in the pool,
Yeah.
taking weight off.
Yeah, so this is the one thing I think the base that everybody has to deal with, which is for many years, can you stay on this path?
Yeah.
And half of that is the social factor,
Yeah.
what you're doing, and of course, passion for what you're doing. But I think that also grows, right?
Yeah.
Then you build the community, you start
Yeah.
doing events. I'm talking about you guys again, but whatever you do, the badminton, squash, tennis, the guys
all
who
the
are
same.
partners and friends.
Yeah.
Paddle
Yeah.
has become huge,
Absolutely.
for example.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are committed, at least now, to
Yeah,
it for
yeah.
some reason.
But
Yeah.
but where do you do your weights? At home or in a gym?
I go to the mall, but my story is very different. There was this thing called the pandemic.
Yeah.
And there were people called the police who I don't like, and they wouldn't let me walk my dogs. So I started getting up at 4. When I realized between 4 and 5, nobody was on the
Nobody's there.
road.
Right.
So I started walking my dogs. After that, what do? I got used to this habit. So I found a gym. I bought stuff and put it on the terrace.
Yeah.
I started working out there.
Yeah.
So I started working out at like 4:45. And then after that, that's my new life because I don't drink anymore. So I fall asleep under 9 and I'm ready to. In fact, I'm fighting at the Bombay gym because they won't open it under 5:45.
Ah.
We used to open it at 5.
Yeah.
And now they've got some new guy and all that. Anyway,
Yeah.
to cut a long story short, my problem is I want to start as early as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my life is empty.
But are you happy to go to the gym and work out on your
I
own?
love
an empty gym.
Jonty, I love going
Okay,
to the
there's
gym.
no-
It's the only thing I like. That and masturbating. But I don't
But
think
I
this is the
mean,
right place to discuss that. Yeah.
Well, we got a doctor. We can fix you.
Yeah, masturbating in the gym, not a good idea. Get a partner.
But do you when you work out, is the gym empty? I mean, if you go
It's
so
4 or 5
early-
of us. But nobody comes in the
but that's the thing though. So it still is, even if weights is a very individual.
Yeah, but I don't socialize when I start working out. Maybe later on when more people come in, but I generally am very happy to train.
Yeah.
But there are people who need the other person in the room. You can see that immediately.
Yeah.
And thing is, you don't get a training partner which fits forever.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody's got their own life, so they come and go. It's like, that's the way it is. So as far as weight training goes, I'm happy in solitude for some time, and then by the second half, there are enough people around. Then some trashy music will start, and the usual fight about
But do you do any aerobic work at all?
Bro, I'm very anti-aerobic. This is not I'm not in the right place. I'm too old for aerobics, man.
No, you're never too old. You're never
Hey,
too
come
old.
do aerobics in the pool with me. No. Yeah, you found your niche there.
Next week is synchronized swimming in our speedos.
100%. It's an Olympic sport, man.
That's another
He's an
show.
Olympic athlete.
If any of our viewers would like to see these two
Yeah,
synchronized
speedo-
swimming in their
speedos.
speedos, please put a comment in the box below. Right?
the
If we
wife-
cross 1,000, we'll get them in
Yeah.
the pool together.
So the wife, now that she started swimming, she learned swimming late, etc., in her 50s.
Yeah.
Keeps challenging me to swim.
Yeah.
And I told her I'll still win all short distance, running, swimming, whatever, but I won't do more than like 25 meters. Because the last time I did a 25 meter sprint,
Yeah.
I came out like a whale.
Right.
And I couldn't breathe, and everything was cramped. My hamstrings were gone completely. My foot
Yeah.
was cramped. My calves were cramped.
Yeah.
And it took hours to recover. So, you know, it's not a good idea.
No, but that is important. Look, we'll just take the conversation a little back to longevity as well. Apart from muscle mass is critical to protect and maintain as you get older, but maintaining your aerobic capacity is also really important. You know, the function of the heart, the ability of the lungs to absorb oxygen, transfer it for it to carry to the muscles and do its work. So I think you should consider some aspect of aerobic.
So there
into
are
that.
there are a couple of role models. I mean, great IFBB bodybuilders like Jay Cutler, 4-time Olympia. They like to train fast, so I try to follow that. As in, I train fast.
Yeah.
So my ATP recovery happens or not, I'm just into the next set.
Yeah.
So in a sense, I have some cardio going. You know, there are a lot of people, powerlifters take 6 minutes between sets.
Right.
I don't take more than 60 to 90 seconds ever.
Yeah.
Which I don't know is a good thing either, but it sort of crosses between little powerlifting, little bodybuilding, and a little
Yeah.
cardio as well, because the pace is always fast.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully you'll watch the show. We do an episode
How
on.
rude, bro! That's so unnecessary. You see, that's a red card as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's offside, brother.
Hopefully, no, Cyrus will be watching. You'll watch all the episodes. Yeah. We'll be doing the editor's cut for Cyrus now, the
It's
director's
an
cut.
IVM show, right?
Yes,
Let me think about it.
No, the when you train, there are different specific zones that your heart rate gets into. So what you're describing, you're spending a lot of time in sort of zone 4 and 5. But what we want is more of the zone 2 workout, which is a steady cadence at a low heart rate for a really prolonged period of time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour. That adds another dimension.
That's another mindset. It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy. It takes time to get the brain in
I'm
gear
more
as
happy
well.
doing explosive stuff and
Exactly,
going fast
exactly.
and all that. And then
Yeah,
I do suffer with
Yeah.
the slightly more mundane style of.
Yeah.
But then again, you know, I try to go to. I think we should all go to what we can do first, and then
Yeah.
see what
Yeah.
we.
No, but you're very good.
Yeah,
So what you can do is we get a bicycle, and so that you can watch all the
I deliver
episodes.
stuff? Zomato.
No, in the
between
gym,
jobs.
in the gym,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
your own, in the gym, the way you like it, and then we'll get the iPad and we'll put episodes of the show on loop, and then you can watch
You're
the
good,
new
bro.
series
You're
on loop,
You're
learning and
half
and
MBA,
training.
half MBBS.
Ah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So no, I get what you're saying. Obviously, 100% this holistic style. I mean,
Yeah.
it's out there. The data's out there to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, when Jonty was a younger man, just fielding, for example, would be everything.
Yeah.
Because it involves like all kinds of dexterity, flexibility, athleticism, and speed.
Yeah.
And turning on the spot. And I can imagine, I think you just satisfy everything.
Yeah.
If you're in the field playing hockey or, you know, fielding the way they used to.
Yeah.
But I think as we get older, we've sort of got to, you know, create it.
That's right.
Because we're not going to be playing games and things like that.
Yeah.
And perhaps not at that level.
Yeah.
So cycling, you know, not my thing. Unless I'm delivering something, I always feel unhappy on a cycle.
Okay, so we'll get you a job with one of the delivery companies.
Yeah. I like the stepper though, if I have to.
Okay.
Because I feel it's a bit of resistance
good.
also, and you don't do it for long.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
there's a whole school of thought that says you can do 5 minutes of really quick sprints or, you know, that kind of aerobic activity instead of doing 45 minutes, but the results are almost the same.
Yeah,
What's
but
your
it's,
take?
What we do want is for that very specific cellular pathway to be activated, and the benefits of the zone to really kick in when you do it for prolonged periods of time. So I would still.
So I can't do a 5 minutes and equate it to 45 minutes.
No.
Even if it's quick, sharp.
Yeah, we want long term.
Now you know what I'm like in bed. I'm giving it. I played my hand. Stop laughing, old man.
You played your hand.
No, no.
Yeah, that's the
Think forward.
future. That's the future, boys.
Yeah.
You're playing it soon. All right, so give us some tips now. I know we're talking about ourselves, but for general people, I think the biggest thing is when to start or how to start. Let's look at different generations.
Sure.
What about really young kids?
Yeah.
How would you? What's the first thing?
So the
you'd say?
philosophy with young kids is expose them to as many sports, as many disciplines as possible. Don't try and bucket them into one thing too early on, because that sort of cross-functional exposure is good for them to eventually fall in love and have a passion for movement and exercise. Something that you guys do very well, right? If you think about South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, the athletes typically have 2 or 3 disciplines that they've done
And they've
growing
got role
up.
models.
And they've got role models who've done these things. So that's really important for young kids. Get them to just enjoy playing and being active and fit. Then as you get older, you want to start to imbibe the disciplines of muscle, which is important for the resistance, rather, which is important not just for muscle, but also for bone. A female physiology, as an example, will typically hit peak bone mass in their second decade. So the
20, 18.
Yeah, somewhere between sort of 16 to 18 is when most women hit their peak bone mass. And so when we're thinking about a disease in their 6th or 7th decade, like osteoporosis, the seed of that has actually happened when they were in their teenage years, because they've had the peak bone mass, and from thereafter, if they haven't maintained it, they will start to lose it at an increasingly faster pace, especially perimenopause and postmenopause. So you want young girls to be active and resistance trained so that they have muscle
From
and have
15,
bone.
16.
Yeah, absolutely. You want that. You want that stimulus.
And then they have to carry on so that
And then they maintain it.
Yeah.
And then they maintain it.
And for males?
For males, we have our peak bone mass in somewhere between 25 to 30. That's so.
So still to come on this table.
Still to come.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the teenage years. So exposure first, high stimulus second, and then post 30, it's about the maintenance. So that's where people start to identify or form communities, something that they stick to.
Also, you can organize your life, right? Because now your
You
career,
do.
etc.
You have career, you've got kids, you've got elderly parents. I think the mistake a lot of people make is falling prey to what we've been discussing around the table, which is probably find that one thing that you like doing and you over-index at doing that one thing.
That's me.
And that's at the expense of...
Pointing at me. I'm here to sell the show with them and he's making it all about how bad I am.
I'm here to help you, Cyrus. This is an intervention.
I came with my wife to that damn CCI felicitation which
did.
you organized.
You did.
And we
You
got
did.
no medal.
And you left a better person because of it.
Unhappy and sad. Yeah, so not that one thing is what you were saying.
Exactly. So flexibility, balance, strength training, aerobic, anaerobic, these are sort of the 5 pillars of moving well. And typically, as humans, it's our habit to over-index on 1 or 2 of these things, and then it's at the
So let's
expense
leave
of the
the
others.
gym aside. If the gym is not possible, like Jonty's life where he's all over the place, what are the options then? You want this holistic style, what do I do? What is
I mean, there's increasingly, there's lots of different sports. I think one of the biggest reasons why paddle and pickle has become so popular now is that it's easy to get into. The threshold to actually play quote unquote well is not as high as some of the other purist racquetball sports.
That's one of the reasons.
And people can feel like an athlete again, right?
Yeah.
So you see people behaving as their
It's a bit of a
athletes.
novelty factor also because it's just a new game.
It's okay. It's getting people up and moving, which is really good. You can
But
spend.
do I get a full workout from a doubles, paddle, or pickle?
You won't, but you'll get some workout, which is more than a lot of people are getting today. Most people's jobs today just involve sitting in front of a screen with a commute, which is 2-3 hours as well. So it's really important to get some sort of movement. There's calisthenics, there's Pilates, there's yoga, there's
Power yoga.
There's power yoga. I mean, there's probably 100 types of yoga as well, right? So I think there's a lot of options available for people. Going into the gym environment is not the only way of exercising or moving. I think now there's increasingly new options for people to engage with. Yeah.
Let's take it. I won't say left field, but let's go a little bit towards a very rare professional athlete of a certain standard like him.
Yeah.
Now, because he's already sort of peaked. The level is ridiculously high.
Yeah.
Okay, in his teenage years, 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
So where does he go? Because he's.
I'll tell you. Don't ask him.
No, but honestly, because
what I did was when I retired, I bought a surfboard and I bought a mountain bike because I just decided with my hockey, with my cricket, I probably run enough. It doesn't excite me. While I was playing, it was a means to an end. I knew I had to stay fit and have the endurance, have the speed, and all of that training was good for my cricket. But once I stopped playing international sport, I didn't feel the need to run. I was playing a bit of tennis with the family, and that's the only running that I needed. But I wanted to stay healthy. And to do that, the ocean was a great place work out. So a surfboard required lots of paddling. I mean, I was, as a cricket player, weighed 71 kgs. I was lean as anything.
Just 71.
Yeah, no, I mean, Hansi and I there was no body fat on us.
Hansi was 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, but again, also really lean. So he's a rugby player, so he had bigger
Broad
shoulders
shoulders,
and stronger chest than me. But, lean body, so from a body fat percentage, both of us were really,
71
really
kilos. Jonty, I've dated girls that weight.
lean. Yeah.
What the hell?
You're distracting me here. Anyway, so my mountain bike was, if I want to do endurance stuff, because the surfing in an hour, I literally couldn't do a push-up at the end of that hour because you're paddling the whole time when you're a bad surfer, which I was at the start. So loved the ocean, loved being in the ocean, and it was a great workout. In an hour, I suddenly started getting a bit of a chest, getting shoulders, biceps, just from the paddling, being in the ocean. Then the mountain bike was the endurance side of things. So it was never a 25-minute, 30-minute cycle. It was a 3-hour cycle. Yeah. So I had a great combination and it was then a part of my lifestyle. So my wife and I actually mountain biked together. That my friends, the guys who were teaching me how to surf would take me down. My kids started surfing. So from that perspective, I knew I wanted to stay healthy, but I wasn't going to run again. For me, it just wasn't something that excited me, and I wasn't a long distance guy. I'd run 10Ks or 5Ks as fast as possible, and that was it. So I didn't run again after I'd retired, but I stayed really fit.
But see,
with bike.
that's similar to you guys in the sense that he's exhausted the athleticism by international quality, top of the line, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There's no motivation to do that.
No. Yeah.
So you have to find something new. So a lot of you guys also start running and doing all these, the triathlete thingy in your 30s, 40s, etc.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of enthusiasm because it's never been done before.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's like a new baby doing new things.
Yeah.
Which I think is also very beneficial to people if they just find a new thing to do.
That's right.
In a sense as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Which is what he did in spite of his athletic prowess.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about surfing. I've tried it once. It's quite resistance is involved in because your back and everything. I mean, people don't realize how tough it is.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, I paddled for an hour, and literally the last push-up when you're coming back into shore, I literally couldn't get off the board doing a push-up. My arms were that exhausted. Wow. So physically, it was really, for me, a great builder. But secondly, it was always in a community. I never surfed on my own. One, I was scared of sharks. And it was also part of the reason why I started surfing. I mean, we haven't had shark issues in South Africa for a while.
But they started moving around.
No, because we had killer whales that came and chased the sharks away. So the killer whales aren't looking for a surfer. They're looking for sharks. Sharks are thinking we're a seal. They take a bite and, okay, you're not a seal. So, but by then you've bled to death. So there are small issues.
Horrible story.
Yeah.
This is
That's why I started surfing.
He just killed us off.
this is the bad stress
They didn't
component.
even eat the guy. Yuck.
Human
Yeah.
don't want you. So that really was two things. One, to stay fit, and two, overcome fear. Because I really was nervous of the ocean. I grew up in Pietermaritzburg. I was miles away from the sea. I would come down, play my cricket, and never get to the ocean because it didn't excite me because of the fear. So that was kind of two things. Same thing, I'm scared of heights. We have the highest bridge bungee jump in the world. So I've done that 4 times. I'm still very scared of heights.
How high is it?
214 meters.
Whoa.
So it's
Free falling.
in fact, the second the rope pulls you up, the bungee pulls you up, and the next one's a 150-meter drop. So you get 2 for the price of 1. It's like an Indian deal. We're perfect for coming to South Africa.
Yeah.
So, but literally all of that, again, the mountain bike, I didn't go on my own ever. I never cycled on my own. It was always a part of the community. So even with all the discipline that I had, and I've seen myself struggle with going to the gym on my own or doing the exercise on my own, in the IPL, I did it every day because there were always guys there. The coaches we were doing work together and training with each other. So Morne Morkel was, my training buddy, and there were always guys in the gym. But if I come to a situation where I'm on my own, so that is.
But you also come from a team culture.
Yeah, I
because
do
you
come
play team
from a
sports
team
all your
culture.
life.
Yeah, very
so
much.
He's used to the sociability.
Yeah, very
factor
much.
at all
And that's
times.
sort of, I would say, accountability. I mean, I never took a shortcut because I wasn't just doing it for me. I was doing it for my team. If I started taking shortcuts when no one was watching.
Just one thing about the bungee thing. So when they tie it, where do they tie it exactly?
So they
It's on your privates?
no,
somewhere?
it's on your legs. So you hop up. So they tie. You have these big. It's like a big leather strap that goes around both your legs, buckle you in, and then the rope or the bungee is then attached to that strap to your shins basically. So when the most terrifying part's actually hanging upside down.
Exactly.
Because it feels like your feet are slipping out
Right.
of this rope, and the guy comes down, on another rope to clip you up, and because you got to invert you or get you the right way around. So
They winch you back up.
then they winch you back up. So that's the scariest part, because you literally you're hanging for about 5 minutes when you've stopped moving, and then they come down to fetch you, and it feels like your feet are slipping out of that, and then you're 150 meters above the river.
And you pay for this.
You pay for it. There's no refund, sadly.
We have to take a break. We're talking a lot. Fair. If you go to South Africa, all these things are available. It's here in India as well, but I'm not too sure where and how good. I think I'd stick with South Africa or New Zealand if you want to do bungee jumping. We'll take a break. It's called Jonty and the Doc. They discuss everything health-wise from A to X, Z, whatever the last letter is, can't remember. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll discuss the mind, which is, I think, probably the bigger problem.
Did you know Indians report nearly 800 cases of online financial fraud every day, which has resulted in losses exceeding 1,000 crores in the last 5 years? To keep you safe from such fraud, I am starting my newest podcast series, Conversation with Vigilante, an initiative by HDFC Bank. In every episode, I will feature special guests who can share expert insights on the different types of fraud, their modus operandi, and how you can protect your money. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and don't forget to tune into Conversation with Vigilante. Catch the episodes on all audio streaming platforms and V for Vigilante YouTube channel.
Back here, Jonty and the Doc. Jonty, Doc, idiot. It's a new show. I should say new show. It's a show. It's on. And it's all about, I think, one of the most pressing things in our times as we live in this generation of the world, forget the war in the background, horrible story, is dealing with health from a holistic point of view. Now, we've looked at all the physicality, or not all, but a little bit of that. You watch the show to get more nuggets from them. But let's talk about the mind for a second, because you can't divorce the mind from anything. And the mind also takes a lot of beating as we age. And as we reach, let's say, post-adulthood, etc., what's your take on how to keep the mind as healthy or as mobile? Or as Plato says, the temple, mind and body together. How do we do that?
So it's actually one of the reasons why I wrote this new book.
Let me show the book.
There we are. My second one, Good Stress, Bad Stress. So the first one, when I wrote the first book, actually, it was all about human body experiencing extreme environments and how it changes when you run a marathon or try to climb Everest or send a human to the moon or potentially beyond. And as I went through that journey of research and science, I realized that the biggest change actually happens, as you said, in the brain and in the mind's ability to overcome fear, to overcome the stressors, and to allow the body to push itself beyond its natural limits. And so this felt like a very natural sequel to that. And therefore, the idea around good stress, bad stress, because in society, oftentimes when we talk about the word stress, we talk about society right now and all the stressors that are in our life. We look at it through the lens of something negative, the anxiety, the rumination, the sort of the butterflies in the tummy. But as a physiologist, as a physician, from a biological lens, without stress, we wouldn't even be here, because stress is one of the biggest drivers for survival. And it's our ability to overcome stress in the environment which allows us to actually perform at a higher level, whether you're a fielder and an athlete on the field, whether you're a physician having to deal with a patient, whether you're in the performance world and having to be the best version of yourself on stage. We need that element of good stress to push us to be the best version. So that's why I thought I'd take a journey in this book and talk about how we can identify and enhance the good stresses in our life, and how we can mitigate and reduce the bad stresses in our life.
Yeah, because there's no cricket player who walks onto the field, whether it's to bat or bowl, and there is no stress. It doesn't have to be a T20 World Cup final. Any game that you're involved in, and if you've been playing for 20 years, it's still the same. Those butterflies are still there, and that's just the stress, right? And that adrenaline, it's interesting because it's like two sides of the same coin. The adrenaline, if you use that stress, it actually does make you sharper. It does make you faster, more receptive to change and directions. But that same stress, if you can't harness that, it inhibits you.
So when does it become bad stress? Because you're playing international sport, and the stress is huge in any case, but it's good stress still.
it becomes fear. So if I'm more focused on the outcome, the negative outcome. So if I'm worried about getting out, because you've only got one chance when you bat, and I didn't bat long most of the time. But in the field,
Jonty.
But in the field, though, don't forget
got
though,
some hundreds.
occasionally. But in the
He's got
field,
lots of runs. He always does
Cyrus,
this.
quiet.
Yeah.
In the field, if I missed the ball or dropped the ball, the next ball I could change the
Make up.
game. I could really make it up. But when you're batting, so that stress when you're batting is real. Bowling is stress, but again, you can lose the first 3 balls of the over, but you can win the over. I mean, you really can. Nisham took 3 wickets in an over last night, so the game changed on its head. So you really can do that, and that's why people ask me did I enjoy batting or fielding. Way further and way more enjoyed the fielding because I didn't feel this negative side of the stress. So the stress never became bad stress. It was always good stress in the field. It made me, I was expecting every ball and I wanted every ball to come to me. When I was batting, I was more, don't want to get out, don't want to, and you have that. I was never really in the zone as a batter. I mean, Jacques Callis, he could bat forever, but he was so in the zone. Difficult guy to bat with because you kind of walk down at the end of the over and he would just tap the ground and keep going, walk back. No advice, and he was making it look so easy. And then I'm struggling on the other end and not quite feeling comfortable. But in the field, never once was there bad stress.
So
It was
what you're
always good
saying,
stress.
Doc, correct us if we're wrong. What he's saying is that basically we deal with the same stress differently.
Yeah.
So there's Callis, that is same example. Callis, the batter.
Yeah.
That stress he loves. He
Yeah.
actually loves.
Yeah.
And Jonty, the fielder, he loves that stress. That
Yeah.
stress brings the best out of him.
Yeah.
He expresses himself with that stress.
Yeah. The same stressor leads to a physiological mechanism which the emotive mind actually perceives into separate cases. In one instance, as Jonty was saying from the fielding perspective, it can lead to the emotion of excitement.
Yeah.
In the negative context, it leads to the emotion of fear. But the stressor is the same and the physiological response is the same. So one of the tips, in the book, I talk about the ability to reframe the stressor and move yourself in the same environment from the negative to the positive is something that can unlock the ability to then perform much better from there. So it's a reframing issue for a lot of people.
I'll ask you a slightly personal thing since it's free. I hate traveling.
Right.
All right? And it's not a joke. It's like an eccentric thing, but I just hate
We're
it.
not being paid for this?
I
mean,
Much.
But Indians will. I'll give you something. I'll send you something.
Okay.
A cousin, maybe. there are too many of us, Jonty. You could give some away. No, so I really hate traveling. I always had.
Yeah.
And I remember my boss in MTV once saying that we're sending you to Frankfurt for a conference. And my reaction was like, no, why send Nikhil? It's like that. And he was like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's Germany, beer, girls, everything. There's nothing for you to do.
Yeah.
But I just hate the idea of traveling. I've never enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And till today, when I go for an event or whatever, I have a great time.
Yeah.
And once I'm in the plane, everything's good. But I just don't like traveling. I go into a depression.
Yeah.
So how does one get out of those things that seem to be set in your mind, which are stupid, but you can't deal with them?
So a lot of the perception of reality is based on the story that's playing in your head. And one of the things that we do in those instances is which you say, I have to. So in your instance, your brain probably is sending you a signal, I have to travel. And in that instance, that have to is onerous. It's a chore, it's a burden for you. If you change the words and you say, I get to, it allows you to unlock the opportunity of what that means. So in this instance, you get to travel and therefore experience beers or girls or whatever it is that you want to enjoy doing for that particular experience. And that's very different for the brain.
No, so I don't mind being there. Once
Yeah.
I'm there, whatever
Yeah.
the thing is,
Yeah.
that's fine.
But it's the story that you
idea of traveling.
Yeah, so it's the story that your brain is telling you when you have to make the decision to go. So the next time you're presented with it, rather than think in your head, I have to do this, it's about, okay, I get to do this. Therefore, it's a moment of gratitude or blessing or grace. And what can I now experience and enjoy from that? Over a period of time, it's a technique called neuroplasticity, which is the first time you try to do something, it's always really hard. Try brushing with your other hand today. It'll be very, very difficult. But the more you repeat it, the brain has the ability to be plastic. It can learn a new skill. And in this instance, it's saying a story which is changing your perception of reality. And that then soon becomes your new way of looking at the world.
Can I put my hand up?
Yes.
That's very technical. Put it in a cricketing sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I batted successfully the last 3 years of my career. So I changed a little bit of my technique because there was a technical issue. But then my whole mindset, the way I framed my batting was after that 1999 World Cup, when semi-final against Australia, Lance Klusener, man of the tournament, playing so well. He and Alan
What a
Donald had
horrible.
that one. But I was
Story.
batting, I got 40 odd and I got out. And I remember people asking me, what did you say to Alan when what? I said, I apologized to him because his job was to bowl Aussies out. He did his job.
Right.
My job was to score the runs. But I had Kloosner, Pollock, Broacha
To come.
batting behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of feel, I'm hitting
not
the ball.
much to get.
I'm hitting the ball in the gap. No, there's still 80 odd runs to go. But my whole sort of philosophy then, batting at number 6 for South Africa, was the last 10 overs belonged to those guys because they could smash boundaries. And at the end of that World Cup, I then became a finisher because Hansie was banned, Daryl Cullen retired, and we had a new coach on board, and he just said, your job isn't to hit the bar, your job is to run us over the line, basically. Because Kloosner's batting, ball goes to the boundary, you there and back.
Yeah.
Use your speed for that. Don't feel like you have to. So a lot of the times I got out because I was fearing I'm making myself look stupid. The crowd actually, they want to see Kloosner or they want to see Pollock. It's a bit like MS Dhoni batting behind Jadeja and CSK, the yellow shirts, almost celebrating when Jadeja got out. I mean, that's crazy.
That's really sad.
But my whole mind shift was then, okay, so I'm not having to hit 4s and 6s, and it became less about me. So there wasn't that fear anymore. I then embraced that job. So my job was to help Kloosner get home. I didn't have to become the hitter. I just needed to be the guy that
Guided
was running
the hitter.
between.
Yeah.
So and then it was. So it really is. You can just train that thought as opposed to the negative side.
So were you stressed in case in the past? Were you stressed about the fact that now I'll have to finish, hit the big shots?
I think I was stressed in that the game that I had was quite, as a batter, I was quite limited. Everyone talks about, you've been a great T20 player. I said, no, but I swept well. I reverse swept because I was a hockey player. I pulled and cut, but couldn't hit the ball over extra cover. Couldn't hit the ball straight down the ground. I would always come across the line. So I think from a point of view where my strength was my speed, and I didn't feel like I had to then adjust or change. And as I said, I changed my technique slightly. Took 2 years to get back in the test side. I was dropped for 2 years. But the whole mental approach to my role as a team became totally different. So the focus was getting Kloosner home, or getting the team home, getting Sean Pollock home, and not me now having to be the Sean Pollock or the Lance Kloosner.
So there was sort of clarity, which takes the stress away, right?
Yeah.
In his case, it's clarity, right?
It's also telling your brain,
Yeah.
and that's what Marcus is saying. I mean, you keep telling your brain often enough that this is an opportunity, not I've got to get out and I've got to hit out or get out. So hit the 6s or get out and let those guys come in. The opportunity was, hey, I've got to be here for Lance Kloosner, rather than I've got to get out so Lance Kloosner can come in and do that enough times.
So the brain leads the body in a sense. Even now, when we come back to health, holistic situation of trying to get yourself fit and for life, etc., it's all from the mind. Starts
No,
with
I
the
think it's
mind. Or
bidirectional.
can it start-
I think it's both ways. And so in the book, there are 99 chapters, and
Let's plug
each
the book.
each chapter is just two. Yeah. Each chapter is only a page and a half long because each of them are a practical thing that you can do.
That's what she says. Yeah, go ahead.
Each,
Couldn't resist. Sorry. Yeah.
So it's a bi-directional relationship. So if you take something like sleep, that's a physical act. If you've not slept well the night before, your brain is going to be in a very different wavelength and ability to deal with the stress the next day. This is where this concept of resiliency comes in. So a body which is not well rested and recovered will the next day have a lower threshold for its ability to manage stress, and therefore its ability to reach peak performance will be significantly lower. Right? Athletes know this, which is why now sleep is such a critical component when we're planning for a tour or a tournament. It's no longer the travel day, which is the rest day. Now you'll travel and then you'll have a rest day and then you have a play day, because that rest day is critical. So if your body's not well rested, if your body's not well fueled, if you've not consumed the right micronutrients or vitamins or minerals, and therefore there's a deficiency in the system.
Now you're stressing me out. It's like too many rules.
But they're simple things.
Yeah,
They're small
small
things.
things.
They're small things. But each of those small things lead to that 1% gain, which can lead to the difference between potentially winning the World Cup and coming in second.
What's your take on magnesium glycinate?
I consume
started
it.
taking that.
I consume it every evening. Yeah, absolutely.
Good for sleep, good for recovery.
Good for recovery, good for sleep, good for muscle. A whole bunch of metabolic pathways. Magnesium biglycinate is good. Yeah.
There are a couple of supplements out there. I don't know if Jonty agrees. I think creatine is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm very pro creatine.
In fact, you also have a lotion or a cream, right, for recovery.
you
that
can
you've been
rub
using.
magnesium. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a? Why is he not talking about it?
I don't know.
It's not water approved or something. What's the worry?
Yeah, up your fit, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thermogel and cryogel. So we
Yeah,
do.
no, there are different ways of consuming these products. Yeah.
Oh, so what we're learning so far, and of course, please watch the show because we're just skirting issues here.
Jonty and the Doc.
Jonty and the Doc. Watch the show because there'll be more detailed, specific examples. They'll go through different things, and we'll understand more about that. But what we're trying to understand here is everything works together cohesively.
Yes.
We can't say one or the other.
Yeah.
You got to be mentally in a decent frame of mind to deal with the stress. You got to find ways to spin things to deal with it better, and then physically also follow macros and micros.
Yeah.
Which I think in my age group, people don't understand the importance of diet.
Right.
Because they keep thinking, oh, I've got this little fat, how do I get rid of it? And all. I mean, you tell us. I mean, isn't diet like 90%?
It is, but I use the word nutrition or fuel.
Fair. Okay,
Right?
nutrition.
Because again, diet, it's the same
sounds
concept.
negative. Yeah,
sounds
I get
negative.
it.
Good stress, bad stress. So fueling is the good stress. How do you put the right fuel in the engine to push yourself? You're absolutely right. 80 to 90% of the game is what you put in that engine, and then the rest of it is sort of how you move it. So it's really, really important.
We've got some fun facts that she just handed me. Jonty's wife is into Ayurveda.
Yoga. Yeah, she's a yoga teacher. But yes, so
Ayurveda also.
Her father's a GP in South Africa, but naturopathic, homeopathic, and Ayurveda.
Generally,
for us,
they don't like
medicine-wise.
each other.
Who?
Well,
The allopathic sciences and the Ayurvedic.
well, yeah. So she and her father do have arguments.
I can imagine. Yeah.
It's you're allowed to have it, but yes. So both our kids were born in Mumbai, 2015, 2017 during IPL, and 2017 we had an Ayurvedic doctor who assisted because Nathan was 2 weeks late, but my wife's fit, very healthy, baby wasn't going anywhere. So I got involved at that stage. In fact, I retired from cricket in 2017 to work with the Ayurvedic doctor around nutrition, so around the meals. And at that stage, I was doing the occasional corporate talk, and it was about motivating people and inspiring people to work harder. And I kept talking to the management saying, but if they work any harder, you're going to kill them off because their stress levels were really high. Yeah. The work ethic was incredible, like 24/7, everyone's available, but nutrition was so bad. So yes, my wife, we have an Ayurvedic doctor here but for kids it's difficult because the Ayurvedic tablets are always quite big, whereas the homeopathic stuff is the small little white ones and way easier for them to consume.
But they're sweet.
Yeah.
I just take homeopathy without having a problem. I just like the taste.
Yeah. No,
Is
so
that
that's
wrong?
But I think the key with her, though, is that as a yoga teacher, and what you've just alluded to, is that she understands, and as an architect, that everything is connected. So it's no good just training hard if you're not fueling or if you're not resting and recovering. And a big focus around the IPL is the recovery. The guys work hard, but what is the recovery like? Because we now understand the importance of it. And my wife has always had that philosophy. That everything that we do as a family, it is connected. So we want to be healthy. We can't just move. We need sleep. We don't have television in our house.
What?
We don't have television in our house.
What kind of fascism is this? You don't have a TV.
So
but they have gadgets, right?
On a weekend, they can use my iPad.
Are you kidding me?
No.
250. The boy.
They get an hour. We're outside.
The 11-year-old child.
So India's 10, Nathan's 8. But we every afternoon.
You're
from
denying
school,
a 10-year-old.
We're not denying them. They
Denying. Again, see, the
denying.
language you're using is...
Modern world.
They get to paint. So he'll sometimes... So his screen time is often... He loves origami, paper planes. He'll follow YouTube to see how to fold planes that do this or that or the next thing. But we're on the beach every afternoon and every evening. So if we had a television, because it gets still quite warm and go, even though it's their winter, they would have, if we had a choice, people ask me, do I watch cricket? I don't watch cricket because there's so much sport on. If I left the TV on, we wouldn't make the choice to go outside. You would stay inside.
Yeah.
So they paint, they read. In the evenings without a television, my wife uses infrared, red light therapy, and we all literally on the small house and go.
Because he's
bedroom.
he's the real deal.
Yeah.
It's putting pressure on me now.
it's not
It's like the whole thing is
but
the world. We have a Band-Aid at home or something.
No, but I think again, it's my wife. So she doesn't she researches it. She studied medicine year 1, and then when year 2 started, she realized that wasn't the life that she wants. She didn't want to live in a hospital, basically. She found that depressing. The medicine side, the science side, she found fascinating year 1. And then since then, when she moved on, she literally then switched to architecture. And she is very creative, and so from a design point of view, but she's also very inquisitive. So she doesn't just follow things. She does a lot of research. And then we as a family, so the red light, she nearly broke her neck snowboarding. And the red light is the only thing that's helped her. She's got a compression, the C7, and that hasn't gone away. So without the red light over 2 weeks, like if we go holiday in Sri Lanka, especially surfing with the position of your neck and your upper body, she then starts to feel, again, the pain in her tricep. Only one area that it manifests is actually in your tricep. Left tricep. I mean, the first physio, okay, so pain here, it's the C7. So I had the MRI done. But the red light has absolutely fixed it. So we ice bath every day in Goa. We red light every night. So as a family, we all lie in the room.
Everybody, the kids as well.
Then we lie in the red. So Melanie sits in front of the red light, which is quite a tall. She sits on the floor. There's still light that comes out past her, and we as a family all lying on the bed reading, trying to find the best red light to read it. So but that's our downtime, you know. So morning we wake up, we turn the Wi-Fi off in the house. The first year we didn't even have Wi-Fi in the house. So our kids, there was no option because I don't have a network on my phone. Wow. The second year, halfway through, in December, we've been there for 2 months, India was using my phone, and she went, "There's Wi-Fi," because we foolishly called it House India. So there's Wi-Fi. And that was a year and a half of living in the house in Goa.
What if they want to order food?
We go down and we eat it.
But you go online, you can't go online and pick up food.
No. Now we have Wi-Fi, and there's a great once a week drop off. We just drive past on the bike. We pick up
the old-fashioned way.
Veg. Yeah. There's a veg store. Yeah. There's a guy there in Uganda that sells to all the restaurants.
Apparently, you also favor vegetarian food. Is that correct?
Yeah, Goa is still, for us, even though it's winter, it's still hot in the evenings. So we do a lot of palak paneer. I mean, the kids themselves, there's a couple of restaurants that serve different dishes that the kids favor. So we have a small house. I mean, the kitchen's as big as this table. So if you kind of had to be at home in the kitchen preparing, because we eat early, we're done by 7, so 6:30 we'd like to eat. We'd have to be in the house at 5 o'clock. And sunsets in Goa, I mean, they really are. It's a great place to come on holiday, but it's even better place to live because you don't have all the party that people feel that they're obliged to now do and miss half the sunrises and time in the morning. So from that point of view, we lived that lifestyle, but it was a choice we made. I mean, we could have lived anywhere in India. We wanted to be in the ocean. We wanted kids are barefoot. They don't wear school uniform. They go to a school where it's in the jungle, and they are as happy as anything. You know, they're not missing out on screen time. Their friends have screen time. They certainly discuss it, and they go for play dates. We see our son is cross-eyed like this because he's been on his buddy's tablet all afternoon. Wow. But and again, we don't force it. We also are in it. So we don't send the kids out on their own.
What about you? So you don't surf the net and all that? I mean, you don't...
No, I obviously do, but I'm also away, enough to, if I'm looking for, and a lot of my talks, I do corporate talks now. So instead of cricket coaching, I'm doing corporate coaching, cricket lessons in business, success, failure, teamwork. And a lot of the things now that I'll do, I'll punch into AI. I'll do a SWOT analysis of the business that I'm talking to and any of their CEOs, maybe a TED talk or their leadership style comes up. And then I align my talk to, what they're looking for. So yes, I do research. I do a lot of briefings, which is also why we then we installed Wi-Fi in our house, because I always had to go to a cafe to go and do the briefing. And often you'd have power failures. There's no backup in most of the cafes in Goa, so I'd lose it.
He comes to us as we become a first world country. He takes us back to a third world country. We just want to use anything.
Why do you want to be first world, man?
Look at the first world, what they're doing.
Exactly. Why do you want to be first world?
But Marcus, you've got a great list of clientele, very interesting people that you work with.
Sure.
Can you tell us about any?
I mean,
there's no space for me. I have asked him already.
No, but we're doing your testing. We're going to do
You're not a client. You're a friend. So
No. You can't mix that.
You think?
Yeah.
You're in India now. We do this all the time. We find a doctor in the gym, and then you just tell him all your problems.
Yeah.
You never pay him
Doctors,
exactly.
Doctors hate that.
I was on the air bike. And someone comes with their phone and says, "Can you tell me what my B12 level should be?" I was like, "What?"
That's the worst thing in the world. Exactly. Because we're friends.
No, I'm fortunate. I have folks who I work with in the high performance space. So I spend time with Olympians and Paralympians. In IPL, I'm not as active at the franchise level, but a lot of cricketers who are working across different franchise, I get to work and support them. I've most recently been working with the West Indies cricket team for the World Cup, which has been incredible fun. They're such a great group of guys.
They've also had a decent run, actually. I'm just not yet the 80s or 90s, but
Yeah.
they've sort of had a decent run in red ball. They lost in India, they lost
Yeah.
in New Zealand, but they had
Yeah.
some good performances.
Yeah.
Drew a game in New Zealand from
Yeah.
out of nowhere, batted out the
So
last
Darren
game.
Sammy is just incredible. I mean,
He's the
as
coach.
the head coach, he's had the experience
He's
of
the one on
winning
Twitter
2
saying,
World
"Take
Cups.
me home."
He's the
I'm stuck in India.
They are stuck in India, which is sad. But he's sort of really brought the team together, and he has the experience of having won two World Cups. So that obviously means a lot, right? That sort of experience that can come into the dressing room. And then I've got folks.
Do you
who-
do this whole holistic thing with them as well? Are you looking at the mind, stress, all that?
Absolutely.
Not just the
Absolutely.
physiology.
So what I'm not a psychologist, right? So there are experts who work specifically with athletes to improve their mindset. That's not what my role is. My role is how can I enhance your energy? How can I enhance your ability to perform? How can I enhance your ability to recover?
Pay them more.
Actually,
So simple.
no, actually, that's not always the case, right?
That's
You
bad
wanna
stress
ask-
sometimes.
you wanna ask the athletes?
That's bad. No, that's bad stress.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, how many guys do you see who have like a breakout IPL year
Yeah.
and they come in at base price and then next year they get picked up at the auction for
That's
crore
Yeah.
and then they don't perform because they've got this tag of now they have to perform.
Yeah.
why is that? So many.
Bad stress.
It's bad stress.
Bad stress.
It's bad
Read it.
stress.
So deep down, they can't take that off their
Chapter
head.
53.
Page 209.
Yeah. Too much pay.
Yeah. And then I spend time in the corporate world. So a lot of CEOs, entrepreneurs, founders, folks who are working in various business and organizations, because ultimately the biology of the body is the same, and I have the great vantage point to be able to translate the science of high performance, but bring it into the corporate environment as well. So I have a great time.
It's also
really enjoy it.
competitive, right? Everything is competitive in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's corporate world or cricket or sport or
Yeah.
just normal life.
Yeah.
There's
You want to do well.
You want to do well. There's
Yeah.
always a
Yeah.
sense of competition.
I mean, because the amazing thing, I'm always asked about how do you deal with egos within the team.
Yeah.
And you always, as if it's a bad thing. And without ego, that is the drive for most of us.
But as a coach or as
any
a player?
environment. No, as a coach, because you have got players with egos, and a lot of them, your international players, superstars, sit on the side because there's only space for 4 international players.
Right.
So, how do you deal, because energy in a team, if it's negative, can drag the whole team. One
Yeah.
person's energy
Yeah.
can drag it. But,
Yeah.
and also you can use that energy for positive, even if the players aren't playing. So that ego is really fascinating because, again, we always thought, okay, it's a bad thing, but it's not. I mean, it actually is what drives us. Whatever environment or industry that you're in, without ego, you always just, you're going to be satisfied with where you are. You're never really going to step out of your comfort zone. And that's
But how do you keep the superstars on the bench? How do you keep him happy? Because he loses all sense of motivation and feels let down, etc.
Well, that is interesting because if the team's doing well, there's obviously no space for complaint because it's when it's like Abhishek Sharma. Now the team has maintained the consistency from a selection point of view, so we try and keep the team as constant as possible in IPL because you'll often find that the winning teams only use 14 or 15 players through the whole season, and maybe it was an injury, but the teams that are struggling to find their sort of way, they'll use 18 or 20 of the 24 players in the squad. So I think from a point of view, what we look at is recognition and just appreciation. And that's what ego needs. It just needs I saw you do that, thank you. And it could be somebody talking to a young Indian batter in the morning over a cup of tea or at breakfast and giving his advice and his experience. Or, the 12th, 13th, 14th, 16th man sprinting around the field because there's a young Indian fast bowler on the far side who needs a drink and he's only got a minute and a half before the over.
Yeah, that would be great.
And there's a
The
guy,
guy does that.
but there's an international guy that's, run around and giving back to the team. And we see it and we appreciate it. We don't make a big deal. We just go quietly and say, hey, thank you. And that really is what you need. And that's what the ego, it doesn't need to be hitting the winning run. If there's recognition and appreciation, that's often, it controls the environment before it crashes. But if you don't appreciate people, then there's a big
Yeah.
void, and then suddenly there's a free
And
fall.
what do they do in the team if they're they're specialists or whatever and they're not on the bench? After some time, it must be really irritating, right?
Yeah.
Because what's your contribution? So I mean,
And exactly,
and you guys are there. They don't need to be coaches, to be honest. So,
But Cyrus, I think I learned at such an early start of my international career was that in the field, I scored 10 with the bat. I saved 20 with the field. In the field, my score is still 10. But Alan Donald, maybe 2 boundaries that touch and cut from a bad ball that I saved, that's 8 runs. His economy rate is better. The team has to score 8 runs or 20 runs less because of my contribution in the field. So it's always been an understanding of mine that your actual performance in the job that you're doing is not the sum total of your contribution to the team. And whether it's, as I said, away from the ground, even at the hotel, post practice, standing at practice, working with guys at practice, there's many ways that you can contribute. But if we as management are not seeing it and acknowledging it, then then maybe it gets a bit, for the player, what's the point?
sport has literally become like a corporate, right? I mean, you look at it from so many different perspectives.
Yeah.
Not just bat, ball, and field. Like it was
Look
in
at the
old days.
valuation. I mean, now in IPL, we've got 2 franchises which are up for sale, right? RCB and Rajasthan, and they are now over $1 billion each.
Will they get a buyout of over $1 billion?
I'm sure they will, and I'm sure that'll be announced soon. But the point is that value is based upon assets, which are the players, right? So now it's increasingly the role for folks like us we become asset managers, right? How do you ensure that those assets are able to sustain and provide that dividend for you over a longer period of time? Because if that crashes, then the whole valuation will descend. So it's the business of sport now, and sort of health performance is integrating itself deeply into that. Yeah.
Good way to end. It's the business of sport. It's called Jonty and the Doc. Finally, I point to the right person. It's taken me an hour, thanks to Parkinson's. Sorry, don't make fun. Check out the episodes. Anything we can look forward to? Is there forthcoming episodes?
Oh, there are many. I mean, it's all stuff to look forward to.
Okay. Releasing on Thursday. There'll be a lot of fanfare. There'll be some Bollywood dancers. There'll be, the usual...
Water aerobics.
Water aerobics. Speech by a politician whose name we can't pronounce. All that. Yeah, that's important, right? Fanfare, tamasha, that's India. You can't just release something just like that. Okay, jokes apart, check it out because I think there's a little for everyone.
Yeah.
Especially people who want to start, even people who are already in the journey of fitness.
Yeah.
Because fitness is everything. It's not just
Especially
being
for
Jonty
you.
Rhodes. I've got my issues. See, I just want to cross a 400-pound deadlift in my 50s, which I'm just struggling to get to.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Can you help me?
Well, you can try.
Which Jonty?
Which
Which
chapter?
chapter?
36.
Thank you, sir.
No, it's not there, is it?
It's there. It's there in the book. It's there in the book.
Yeah, I say swear because I'm gonna get you back and I'm gonna go through the chapters and make sure it's there.
You'll have to catch me. Yeah.
Rascal. That's not possible without an Uber.
Yeah.
Jonty Rhodes, Marcus Ranney. Please check out the show. Jonty and the Doc.
There we are.
Good for us.
Thank you.
Cool, guys.
Cyrus says every time, Cyrus says, जब ये कहे तुम सुनो, please. तमीज से बात करना है ना, important people यार.